Okay.
All right, well, welcome. Let's, I don't know, go around and do a quick check-in. Something you're looking forward to this week?
Tomorrow we have the kickoff party for Corporate Challenge or the kickoff event, and I'm helping with the Fantastic Family Fun Zone. So I'm excited for that tomorrow. Gonna be a good time. Bike Walk KC is gonna be there with us. Very excited.
Yeah, we're excited. My coworker Miranda is going to be working it, so they're getting all prepared right now.
Yes.
Are you guys doing
Awesome.
an event or are you participating? We're doing corporate challenge too.
Yeah, so in the past we had set up like a bike rodeo, stuff like that. This year, unfortunately, we don't really have capacity. We've just been so busy at schools, so all of our fleets are out. But we're just going to be setting up a table. Children's Mercy donated a lot of helmets to us, so we can pass those out. We have blinky lights to hand out, and just giving like basic safety information. So that's what we're planning on doing.
Cool.
Where's that kicking off, Katie?
Oh my goodness.
It's
I
at the
don't know the
Truman
name.
Sports Complex.
Yeah, it's the Truman Sports
Okay.
Complex. Yes, thank you. I was like, I don't know which stadium it is. Well, L, that's about all I need.
Fun.
But yeah. Um, Anybody else have anything they're looking forward to this week or maybe weekend? The weather's going to be lovely.
I'm thinking.
You know, I saw it was going to be like 87 on Sunday or something. We'll be out of town in St. Louis, so I won't be, so I'm sure it'll be warm there too, but
I'm just looking forward to going for a walk,
Mhm.
long walk.
I just got back from Arkansas. I went there for the eclipse, so I don't really have many plans. I'm actually getting over some allergies because whenever I go to Arkansas, I'm not used to like the plants and stuff there. So, and everything's blooming like crazy down there. So that's why I'm a little stuffed up today. But
no. Nolan, what city did you go to Little Rock? I heard it was best there. Did you go to Little Rock?
so we have friends that live in Springdale, near Fayetteville. So we stayed there and then we went down to a little south of Fort Smith called Greenwood. The original place we were going to go was so busy that morning, with traffic. So we ended up just going to like a smaller town. So, and then just drove back the next day.
I bet that was an
My
awesome experience.
Yeah, and I'm from Southern California, so whenever we've had them in the past, we just get very little, like 20%. So it was really, really cool seeing the entire thing. It was like really trippy.
my family went, or my husband and kids, they went to Springfield. So they drove like 5 hours or something. And they said it was amazing, totally worth it. So the view from Overland Park was not as good as last time.
Yeah, I agree. Christine and I watched it from the Johnson County Arts and Heritage Center, where we held the summit on Monday, the Aspen Institute Kansas City Summit. So, and on that note, we can go ahead and jump into our agenda items. So, um, we will have time to talk about Bike Month as next month. It's next month. But we also wanted to discuss some of the topics that were brought up at the summit because they also relate to this group. Christine, do you want to, or do you want me to?
Either way.
I'll let you handle it.
Okay. So one of the topics was, I guess they're all barriers. Transportation, connecting youth with programs and families. So these are barriers to participation in physical activity and sports. And maybe I'll read all four and then we can talk about them. Effective communication with families, information overload and missed opportunities, lack of infrastructure to support youth with disabilities, lack of diversity of recreational opportunities, especially for older youth, and then mental health struggles, positive and negative roles that sports play in a child's well-being. So transportation was interesting. There was quite a few ideas brought up. I know that schools provide a second bus. Our table was discussing, we were sitting with, I don't have his name written down, but he,
Raymond.
what, say it again?
His name was Wayman. He was with the Boys and Girls
Yes.
Club.
Okay, Boys and Girls Club. Yes, and what he was describing was just a volunteer system to literally go get kids and bring them to their game, because right now schools, Boys and Girls Club goes to the school, brings the kids over, they get to do their practice, they get to prepare for the event, and then they don't always make it to the actual event due to transportation. And then someone else, oh, maybe it was the sports commission. I'm thinking of her name. She just moved from Special Olympics Kansas over to working for the sports commission, Taylor Oberstedt. She was saying that sports commission has zero problems with volunteers. And so I'm going to follow up with her about, she's new there, but we need more information about what their volunteer program or system is, because that just seems to be an issue that overlaps from transportation to even lack of programming because there's no adult to lead it. Does anyone have more
I was
about
gonna say,
transportation?
yeah. So, quick overview. What we're discussing right now, if I believe everyone in this group probably knows about the summit that we just had. We have been announcing it at many of our sector meetings as well. But essentially, these are the findings from the group interviews that they conducted earlier or late last year, I believe. And so these were the 5 main barriers they found to youth participating in sports or physical activity. So that first one was actually addressed very thoroughly at the summit. They had like these posters in the back and they're like, vote out the biggest barrier you think we need to address now. Transportation was number 1. So, and as Christine mentioned, it was a huge topic at our table. We were at the same table, which was great. But one of the things I suggested, to her point about the Boys and Girls Club and their issues with getting kids to and from the program and how they rely on volunteers to assist with that, was, and they don't have obviously buses to be able to assist them, was active transportation opportunities, one being like a walkable school bus. So we also discussed like the plausibility of that and how public transportation was an alternative option, yet while it's a great idea, a lot of parents don't feel like their children are safe on public transportation. So just throwing out some of the other things that we discussed. Yeah, Christine, I'll hand it back over to you.
Well, and one of the directors from the Royals, from the Urban Youth Academy, she had spent time in Philadelphia, and she was talking about how their public transportation was safe and that they did use that for programming. So it's an interesting metro topic for Casey to explore. As far as communication with families, information overload or missed opportunities, another table mentioned Peach Jar as they shared out at the end, and so I'm curious to find out if that is a metro issue or just an issue that our district is facing, where it should be a great system to send electronic notifications to parents about opportunities, whether the opportunity is free or reduced or scholarship. But our experience over here is that it costs at some level for the provider. Does anyone have different experience with Peach Jar in a different part of the city?
It's been my experience. I haven't used it, but other people in my office has, and yeah, they were charged for it too. So we don't really use it.
Yeah, because our Parks and Rec, they reached out, and even a teacher who's on the board with Parks and Rec was like, how are we supposed to? And so I'd like to just, if flyers are the way to go, or in the high school for opportunities, the kids respond really well to the QR code. So
Yeah,
the
how do
Peach
you
Jar,
all get communication out about your like programs and stuff? Like, what do you find effective? Um, that'd be great to kind of discuss because yeah, feature is not the only option, but how do you like mass communicate to families and parents that you're offering something? Because that was one of the things we discussed with a lot of families didn't know about programs, especially ones that were offered like affordable resources and stuff, you know. So how do you communicate with these families and stuff about what you're offering?
I mean, we don't use peach jar, unfortunately. I don't even actually know what it is. But maybe we're a little old fashioned, but we just typically, since we usually work via the PE teachers, we send out like information documents, like this program is coming to your school. And we just kind of have them distribute it for us. So we kind of use the PE teacher as our liaison. We always send out like a parent information document. These are the programs that we're offering. And then we also follow up with the school afterwards and just say, this is how you can keep up the momentum. These are different ideas that you can use to increase biking and walking at your school. So we kind of just do it via email. We have some flyers, some informational pages on our website that we usually use. That's kind of what we typically do. Who knows if it actually gets in hands of parents? I would really hope so. Because we have gotten people, who've contacted us like, hey, I'd really like some more classes for my child or something like that. So that's kind of what we've been using.
well, as
And
a parent, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, pretty much the same as Nolan. I mean, we have it all on our websites, and then we have all our partners. Usually we share our flyers with, and they'll put them on too. We work a lot with like the library and of course Safe Kids. So they help promote a lot of our events. We've also done old school, literally send out postcards to like every elementary school in Johnson County. And it's super old school. And I don't know if we usually get a few hits off of them. So we've done that in the past, but I'm open for suggestions. It's a tough one.
I was just going to share that as a parent in Johnson County, the Parks and Rec always sends out, it's like a magazine, and it has all the summer offerings and camps and activities. So I don't know if they just do that in the summer or if there's one for the fall or spring, but I don't know if, I guess I could look into whether Wyandotte County has that kind of thing that goes out to families. They seem more reliant on just flyers. So, or would Jill, the offerings that you have, is there a place for that in that magazine?
With the Johnson County Park and Rec,
Mm-hmm.
not usually, because those
Yeah.
are more like, I know they've done that. Nolan, what is that buddy? What is that?
Betty Pegs?
Yeah, Buddy Pegs. Like I've seen them put that in there, and we worked with them
Yeah.
for a little bit, a part of a time, but since it was more like for profit, we didn't really work with that. But no, not typically, because they're also just events that we don't have a date set in time,
That's what I thought.
yeah. Because they put that out, so you have to have your stuff ready to go so far in advance for that catalog.
Brooke said in score one, they send it through the mail with the screening results, and they also work closely with the school nurses. So I bet school nurses would be a great avenue just to advocate for like why physical activity is important, but you know, we're getting programs out, obviously, not.
Yeah, I'm for our area, I'm gonna meet with the director of health services who's kind of over all the nurses, just revamping our health fairs. Um, so I wonder, Jill, if there's health fairs going on at schools across Johnson County, different districts, if you're allowed to, like, would they invite you to come and be a booth or?
Nolan and I have done like the Shawnee Mission School District, like PTA events before in the
Mm.
past, but as far as like a regular thing with Johnson County Schools, I haven't been invited to any kind of like health fair. But we usually do that one in the fall. Was that like in late August, Nolan? I'm trying to remember. Or was it
Yeah.
right as school was starting?
Yeah, I remember because it was so hot.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
August, and we were super busy because we were starting at schools. But there actually is one coming up. I think it's in May. It's like on like a Saturday. I can look at it really quick. And they invited me to come out and talk about helmet fitting and that kind of thing. Sorry.
It was at a Johnson County school?
It was Shawnee Mission School District PTA Health Fair or something like that.
There's also one that Katie was just telling me about, which Katie was Safe Kids on May 4th. It's at Shawnee Mission South, and it's like a huge bike rodeo. That's not it, is it, Nolan?
I don't think so. That's another event, and we were actually confused and hoping that, it wasn't the same event. Because the expectation from us, it's from Katie Stramel. Um, she was the contact that asked me to come and talk. It's on the 4th of May. It's a Saturday.
And where is that one?
It is at sorry, I need to pull it back up. Early Childhood Education Center on 83rd in Overland Park.
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, we were just there last week on Thursday. They had something like another information. They're a great partner if anybody's looking to get out resources. They welcome anything. We left a ton of information with them. Anything child safety.
Those are good ideas of the collaboration between the early childhood centers and Safe Routes or health department. Gave me some good ideas of new partnerships, maybe. Do we want to look at the next barrier, lack of infrastructure to support youth with disabilities? Katie, do you remember Wesley's last name? Who spoke at
Hamilton. Wesley Hamilton.
Wesley
he's with-
Hamilton.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's with
founder
disabled,
of,
but not you got this.
yeah. Okay, Wesley, I'm gonna write his last name down. Yeah, I think the information that he shared was super important. I think that Special Olympics Kansas is making some strides towards more opportunities within the school system through unified sports and unified PE. I know our district's just more new. A couple schools have participated in unified sports, but bringing unified PE is our goal for middle school next year. I can just share that walking into a middle school where kids that are considered SPED and then kids that are considered gen ed are in the same space, but the kids with disabilities, they're just kind of roaming around and not included, and their paras or teachers are just sitting on the bleachers, like taking a break. So I've walked into that scenario a couple of times, and so I did reach out to the Special Olympics Kansas about unified PE for middle school, and even though we can't create the course unified PE, they can come and train our teachers on how to invite and include all students. So kind of where we're heading. It feels really like that should have happened a long time ago. So
Yeah, we actually acquired, I think, 3 new adaptive bikes. We used to only have one, but now we have, I think it's 3. If not, we're gonna have 4 soon. One's gonna be a hand cycle, so students of all abilities can participate in Blast. So far, they've been a huge hit. I mean, they're never in our office because they're always out at schools. And we're seeing more and more that especially with underfunding of schools, that, students of all abilities are integrated in the regular PE classes. So making sure that we have those resources for the students is of utmost importance to us recently. Also, we've been training our staff on, working with students with disabilities, right? Because, we're not experts on it, but we're learning, working with paras. We're actually going to be offering an adaptive Blast class for North Kansas City High School coming up in May. That's just going to be 2 short sessions, but this is kind of easing us into working with students with disabilities. How can we meet them where they're at? So we're excited for that. And we've also been working like at Francis Willard. They have an adaptive, I think, PE class. So we've been having our instructors work with them. We actually had opportunities in Johnson County to work with students with disabilities at Broken Arrow. They had an adaptive PE class with paras. We did it at J.A. Rogers here in the Kansas City Metro. So this is something that we're continuing and going to keep advocating for in the future.
that's
That's
amazing.
awesome.
Do schools, I'm thinking of a few schools that have their own set of bikes, either for younger, maybe it's K1, for schools in that situation that don't have an outside group coming in for that session. Do schools ever reach out and reserve a bike, an adapted bike for that?
I don't think we've had that situation. One thing that came up recently is we're going to be working at Rushton Elementary in Johnson County next month, or I think actually at the end of this month. And they have, I think, about 6 students who might need to use our adaptive bike, but they're in different grade levels. So unfortunately, we'll only have one available at the time that they can use, but they are reaching out to Shawnee Mission School District staff because they have tricycles and different types of equipment that can be lent out, which really, really helps us because not all students need to use necessarily an adaptive bike, but sometimes they might just need additional support, with 3 wheels or something like that. So that's another way that we're trying to use our resources wisely, and seeing what we can use. So if there's ever opportunities, like we can borrow equipment from someone. The reason we're trying to get a hand cycle is because Frank Rushton and KCK last semester really needed a hand cycle and we didn't have one. So, we have 3 adaptive bikes that aren't hand cycles. So if we can get something that has that ability, we can reach more students. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
That's awesome. I'll probably follow up with you separately just about the cost of one, or from our lens, we're projecting a 3 to 5 year capital outlay budget, and something like that our district could put in the budget and have for schools to use would
Yeah,
also be really great.
yeah, we just purchased them recently, so I'll definitely have that figure for you.
Cool. The next was lack of diversity of recreational opportunities, especially for older youth. For me, the first thing that comes to mind is just intramurals used to be a thing, and I don't know that they're being offered as much at the middle school and high school, and that partly in our area might be the space, lack of facilities. We might not have much to talk about on that one.
Yeah, that would be more under like Park and Rec for me.
yeah.
So I don't have really much experience in that area.
I mean, we're kind of younger kids as well. That's definitely something we want to branch out to. We do bike club in high schools, so that's serving older students. We've also been doing them at middle schools. It's just such a challenge trying to start a program like that for us because it's every school is so different. It's after school. You know, we don't have as many instructors available in the afternoons as we do in the mornings. Um, it's something that we really, really want to explore. It's a really fun program and the students are really engaged. Um, but it also requires a lot of commitment from the staff. And that's something that we sometimes can't find. Like we need that, you know, staff champion that can stay after school, sometimes not being paid, or, you know, after school program coordinators. So that's something that we really want to explore. And it requires a lot of coordination on our end. Sometimes, you know, because we're also providing the bikes, we're providing helmets. So yeah, that's something in the future that we are working on. We did a program called Active Ambassadors. This was before my time here, so I don't have much information on it. But we did it with De La Salle off of Troost here in Kansas City, Missouri, where we worked with students in their after school program, you know, kind of giving them something to do, and they're actually getting paid in the program. That's something we want to explore in the future. You know, uh, how can you ride to the grocery store, to your friend's house, to destinations that they're interested in? So meeting them again where they're at. We also had them meet with local business owners, you know, to see if it's possible for them to maybe one day own a business. So we're trying to explore more of that kind of stuff that's really meaningful for older students. But again, with our staffing and resources, it's kind of not top priority, but we really want to work on that in the future.
That'd be just a great area to explore grant funding for a stipend for a school champion. I feel like when the walking school bus thing was done with Safe Routes, there were little pockets of, this is a really small stipend, but it was, it helped kind of like, you know, spark some of those
And
programming opportunities.
I know KDOT has a new round of Kickstart grants starting, and they're due at the end of May, I believe. So, and again, they're just really small. I think they're like $1,000 or something just to get some of this kind of lifted off the ground. Like we did one with Rush, not Frank Russian, but Russian Elementary in Johnson County, and they got the grant. I think they were only originally going to select like 5 schools, but they ended up being able to fund all the applicants. So it was like over 20, I think, schools in Kansas for the first round. So it's really good to kind of, you know, a little bit of money to get the momentum started. So, and we're also helping with all of that.
So do I go on KDOT? I just want to let my the PE team, like, give them the information. They might know someone in the building, but I would love for a middle school or high school bike club to take off. And again, the stipend is just a little bit of, I know the teachers are just tired at the end of the day, but that's a way to get someone on board or just bring the opportunity to students. Sometimes it just builds from there. So.
And I mean, between us, and we can discuss this, you and I, further. But I mean, a personal goal of mine here at Bike Walk KC is working more with KCK. I think that's a really under-resourced community, especially in the means of biking and walking. And I especially want to reach, you know, the Spanish-speaking community. So that's definitely something that I want to explore. And I think that we definitely need to do a bike club in KCK because I don't know of one that we've done of late. So that's definitely something, if we can find maybe one school that's interested, pilot it at, and then, you know, continue that relationship. And I'll forward you that KDOT information so you have that.
Thanks. I meet with the middle school, high school teams on April 24th. So that might be a great time for me just to present and see if there's one person that we could wrap a pilot around.
Mhm. Yeah, I think Katie just put and I'll also forward you the email. It might have some more information.
We want to go ahead and move on to the last one so we can talk about
Sure.
bike to school day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The last one was mental health struggles, just the positive and negative roles that sports play in child's well-being. I feel like at the summit, there was talk about just how we can provide training for volunteer coaches. Probably just what we hear over and over, watching youth sports play out with people that mean well, like dads or moms taking on a team without the background for sports psychology um, and I thought it was helpful to hear from the kids, those kids that spoke, and just their take on for parents on whether they wanted to be pushed or not, or just that open communication, because they weren't saying that they didn't want to be pushed. It was just knowing your kid and having that conversation.
So at the summit, we had panelists just to kind of fill in the gap of what we're discussing or what Christine was mentioning. And one of the panel discussions was actually youth who participated in sports. So we had, I forgot where Diego played soccer, but he was from a soccer club. And this kid could be a politician. He was awesome. Um, he was like, I won't go into it. He was just great. But he had a different opinion than one of our participants who was from Girls on the Run, where he wanted to be pushed because he wanted to be a professional soccer player. Was I can't remember her name, but our Girls on the Run participant, she was like, I don't like to be pushed. I want to do this because I enjoy it and not because somebody wants me to do it. So looking at that different perspective was really cool. Just to like, yeah, what Christine said, hear it from the kids' mouths themselves. Like, yeah, that was a huge discussion was like how parents play into this pressure aspect of youth, not just participating in sports, but just being physically active in general. And then we also talked about like how technology and stuff also affects them. So Christine, did I hit it on it? I don't know if you guys would probably have any problems in your programs with, I don't know. I'll let you. Sorry, Christine. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just agreeing that the good point brought up about tech and just how I think that for parents whether that came out of the pandemic or not, but it does become an easy sometimes babysitter. Kids, they're safe, they're on a screen, they're not, while mom and dad are still at work, or just it becomes an easy thing to go to.
They lose the connection aspect of what it means to play in a sport. So, because they're just so focused on their phones, they're not really involved anymore. Does anybody have anything to add? Okay. Do you want to go ahead and move on to talking about bike month?
Yeah.
Cool. I'll let you guys go first and provide any updates or anything that's new since our last meeting. And I know I said bike month, bike to school day. We can also talk about bike month too.
I just want to say, and I sent Katie a flyer that's awesome for you to send with I just emailed to you, Katie, because I thought maybe people would get it better than being in the chat, but we can share it. And Nolan, you probably may already know about it too, but the big event that the Helmet Rodeo that is putting on, so Latham Medical Center, and it's the end of, now I have to look at the date again, end of April, I think. But anyway, it's going to be at the Olathe Medical Center, and every child that comes will receive a free bike helmet. Oh, thanks. April 26th. So anyway, just feel free to share that. I don't think you have to be necessarily a Johnson County resident or anything. So if you need a child that needs a helmet or whatever, feel free to share it with schools and whoever you'd like. Oh, April 28th. Okay. And then as far as bike to school day, we're ready to go with that. Of course, we're gonna be at Neiman Elementary in Shawnee this year. It's a Title I school, and Nolan and I were just chatting, so he's gonna come too, but this year it's gonna be kind of a lot of city people. We somehow, you never know who's gonna, you send out all these invitations, you never know who's gonna come, but we've got like the Shawnee Fire, Kansas Highway Patrol, and then we have, they're bringing, the sheriff's department's bringing their canine Gus, so the kids will like that. And then they're bringing the fire truck, and so we're also working with K-State Extension, which is going to bring snacks, and then Safe Kids, and then the Pilot Club of Shawnee Mission, which will do some type of helmet head safety presentation. So we've got about 7 or 8 vendors or exhibitors. So it's going to be a big event. We're just hoping that we have great weather. And then Nolan may come too, so, which is awesome.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
plan
looking forward to it.
on joining Jill and all of them at Neiman. We all get pulled so many ways, especially here at Bike Walk, to attend all these different events. So we try to equally distribute ourselves the best way we can. So I'm planning on attending that. My coworker Miranda is going to be joining folks at Crossroads here in downtown Casey Mo. We just did Blast with them, so it's just kind of maintaining that relationship, keeping up the momentum. And we actually might be riding with the kids that morning, so depending on who's available. I just dropped off a bag of 100 blinky lights to Christine. These are lights that students can use to put on their bikes or on their backpacks or whatever if they're walking or biking, so they're visible at night or just during the day in general. So Christine is going to help me distribute those to participating schools. We again are distributing lights, helmets to other schools across the KC Metro, getting ready for this event. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh yeah, and our communications manager, she is creating bike to school day stickers and temporary tattoos. So that will be fun. That will be things that we can distribute to schools. Because unfortunately we're so busy. We're actually working Blast those days as well, just like normal. So some instructors are going to be busy. So we're kind of just trying to distribute resources as much as we can. And yeah, just kind of taking it day by day. I plan on bringing some of those to Neiman. I'm going to drop some off at Frank Russian and KCK because Pam Herrick has been such a great champion at that school. So we want to maintain that relationship. So taking some to Crossroads, and we'll have some extras if anyone else is interested. That's kind of my general update.
Jill, I was going to ask, when is the Neiman event?
It's
Is it
May
during the
8th.
day?
Yeah, can you guys see me? All of a sudden my computer's saying Zoom is not responding and it's just spinning. Can
Yeah,
you
you
guys?
look frozen, but we can see
You're
you.
frozen, yeah.
Yeah, okay. It says and I'm trying to click on it and I may have to get out and come back in. But yeah, it is May 8th.
Is that during the school day too, or is it an after?
Yeah, it's gonna be in the morning as the kids are coming to school, about 7:30 to 8:15 or so.
Cool. Awesome. Katie, are we also talking about May being Water Safety Month?
Yes, I was going to also mention, well, for one, Bike Walk KC. Props to you guys. Their events, they do list the schools that are participating in Bike to School Day as well as other activities for Bike Month. Love that. And then Mid-America Regional Council does have their Bike Month webpage updated for 2024. I think they're still working on including more events and information, but that is up. I was just trying to pull them clean. And so I can post that in the chat. Oh, shucks. Running a little slow, so I apologize. Well, while I look for that link, yeah, we can go ahead and talk about, um, May is also, Mitchell, um, Water Safety Month. And I know, no, this might not apply to Bike Walk KC, but it's going to be a discussion in our parks group as well about this. But just if anybody's doing anything to also, um, I guess, celebrate Water Safety Month in May besides Bike Month. Um, yeah, just curious what everyone's up to for that. So Jill, we're talking about Water Safety Month, how that's also in May. And we're just wondering if anybody is doing anything to celebrate that or not. I know Christine just wrote a application we reviewed last month regarding water safety training at 2 elementary schools over in Wyandotte County. So that's really cool. But just wanted to see if anybody else had any updates.
Has this been a year to year, like always? Like, I guess it's not really been on my radar, but just May being Water Safety Month, I wonder how long that, I'll have to look that up. Because I don't think we've talked about it with our team.
I don't think we usually talk about it in
Yeah.
our school sector meeting, but
Yeah.
your application got me thinking about it, being like, well, you know, schools do partner with other organizations to address this. So what schools do have training in, yeah, training opportunities, or I know that Christine, you and I have discussed how Wyandotte County has pretty much closed all their schools, and kids aren't receiving any education on how to swim. So what's being done to address that?
Yeah, I'm glad you put it in there because I can follow up with our district AD who's new to the role, but not new to the district. Because in the bond issue, they did include an aquatic center and they included renovations to our existing pools. So I don't know, just good conversation starter.
I finally found the bike walk link.
Oh, sorry. It didn't mean to make you struggle. I could also given it out, but
Oh no, you're great. I think I included it. I might have in the last school's newsletter. We had a quick turnaround and I forgot to send out information. So like the helmet rodeo that Jill just sent me, I'll probably just do a blast email, not an email, but a blast like MailChimp email to our school sector. So they've got that resource prior to our next newsletter coming out. So well, if there's nothing obviously to discuss about Water Safety Month, does anybody have anything they'd like to share that their organization's doing? Or any updates from the group?
I feel like I'm talking a lot, but so one thing I'm super excited about, not to toot our own horn, but we're going to be piloting our new pedestrian safety curriculum, trying to get kids to walk more to and from school safely. That's going to be starting at Francis Willard in KCK at their after school program at the end of this month. So the pedestrian curriculum, I'm just finalizing it today. I've been working on it for a few months, researching. We're using pedestrian curriculums that we already had in the past. And we also used Safe Routes Philly. They're an excellent resource. They have a ton of information on their websites, and a lot of it is really user-friendly. And I believe a lot of it's in English and Spanish, which is really amazing. So we've been taking a little bit of inspiration from that, and also from the National Highway Traffic Safety Association website. They have some. So we're trying to kind of model it based on, the experts in the field, based on also our expertise in the Kansas City Metro. So it's really, really exciting. We're starting that again at Francis Willard, and then next month we're going to be bringing it to Russian Elementary. They're currently at the old Westwood View School while their school is being constructed, but it's really great. So they'll be going into their new school next semester with a lot of this information with their walking school bus that we've also been working on establishing with the planning in. It's called a PNP grant. I can't remember what it stands for, but so that's kind of like a little shout out. We plan on bringing this to all schools starting in the fall. So if schools are participating in BLAST, they're also going to be getting pedestrian safety. The pedestrian safety is also great because it reaches students that aren't going to be participating in BLAST. So those students K through 2 that we usually don't see, we're now going to be able to give them some sort of safety education and teaching them how to cross streets safely, how to cross intersections safely, how to walk in parking lots, and also just general walking safety tips. So if you're walking on a street that doesn't have a sidewalk, which unfortunately we're seeing, is very common in certain areas. Where would you be walking to be the safest? Or if I'm walking at night, how can I be the most visible? So just things like that we're going to be bringing to our schools coming up. And that's just kind of a fun little update for everyone.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that sounds awesome, Nolan. I'd love to hear more about that or see how is that presented? Is that you all coming out and doing a presentation, or is it something online that the teachers share with the students, or how does that work?
Yeah, I should have given more information on that. It's actually just going to be during their PE class. So just kind of like a BLAST class. We're going to be seeing more students. So again, K through 2, in addition to 3 through 6 that we usually see. And we're just going to be, it can be either broken up into individual lessons or it can be given in one day. This time when we're piloting it, we're just going to give it in one day, like it can be either a 50-minute session or an hour session. So we go over, those 4 topics that I mentioned. We have them practice on a simulated type of course first, using cones and traffic signals and things like that. And then the end goal is to also take them out in front of the school, or kind of in the local neighborhood, really close to the school, and actually have them practice crossing real streets, real intersections, again with supervision and with permission from the school. So that's what it will look like right now. And again, it'll be polished. This is a pilot, and we're going to see how that works out. And this can also be something that we use to provide maybe a one-off safety demonstration that we do like at a assembly type of event, if schools want to just have like a 1-day practice lesson. So in this curriculum as well, it has ways to keep up momentum. So starting, walk and wheel Wednesdays or participating in walk to school day. So it's also not only just here's this information and then people forget about it. It's trying to keep up momentum. And for older students, it's also trying to influence them for advocacy. So it asks them challenging questions to really critically analyze infrastructure that's around their school. What do you think is unsafe about infrastructure around your school? What needs to be improved, or what methods can you use to advocate for better infrastructure? So we're trying to really train students to really think critically about this. And this is something that's very, very important and that they should, have around their school.
That sounds fantastic.
And it's taken me 2.5 months of work. So hopefully it works out well. We're going to be training our instructors on Monday. So I'm like stressed out and trying to get it all finished. So I'm sure it'll go well.
I remember the Walking Detective booklet. I feel like it came from, I don't know if it came from Bike Walk or from Safe Route.
I think it did.
Laura. Yeah, we had gotten to use that with walking school bus, just helping kids to notice things on the way home, like cracks in the sidewalk, potholes,
Yeah, that's
trash.
we're doing something similar. So like kind of using that model for younger students. So they're going to do like a little scavenger hunt bingo. That's kind of what we came up with. And it's very visual. It has a ton of fun pictures for them and kind of identifying key infrastructure like, you know, can you identify a painted crosswalk, a school crossing sign? So just kind of keeping them occupied, but also facilitating their learning. Older students are going to do those critical analysis questions, and we're going to have group discussions and stuff like that. So trying to make sure everything's age appropriate because, teaching a sixth grader how to cross the street, they probably already know how to, but I'm trying to make it interesting and engaging.
Awesome. And there might be some couple barriers with doing like the walkability during the day. But I think it's because it's new. So being able to do the pedestrian safety on campus and then explore options for those real life scenarios will be probably just a process. But I look forward to watching it and supporting you in any way that we can.
Well, that's why, as well as if there is a barrier and we can't, take them out off of campus or right in front of the school, which we understand there's safety issues and, we have to make sure that we're abiding by the school's rules. But that's why we're trying to keep up momentum. Like, hey, if this was really successful, the school can maybe do like a walking field trip somewhere where parents are informed and, everybody's on board and they have school staff support. So just kind of trying to think of ways that again, we're not just giving this information and people forget about it or, it's just busy work. So trying to make sure it's actually sustainable.
Well, I think that's all we have. If you can think of somebody interested in being school sector lead, send their names our way. I'm asking, gosh, I forgot his name again. Wayman, was that it?
Wayman,
Wayman, yeah, about
Wayman.
the possibility. He seemed interested. And then due to a scheduling conflict, we are going to reschedule May's regular time. I think did we select the time, Katie?
Yeah, 1 o'clock. So we're just we're pushing it back a week.
Okay.
But it'll be May 16th at 1 o'clock. If you have any ideas of what you would like the group to focus on or discuss, please feel free to email me. We were doing guest speakers and we might still go ahead and continue with that. But there's so many different events that go on related to like schools, such as Back to School Day, that we could focus on as well. So yeah, if you have any ideas, please let me know. I'll put my email in the chat if you don't already have it. If I could type today, I'll put my email in the chat. There we go. Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you
Thank you.
everybody for coming.
Good to see you all.
Good to see you all.
Bye.